I'm going to be showing you guys how to install, configure, and host your own Minecraft server. And one of the main reasons I'm doing this is because I don't like paying for stuff, so I don't want to pay somebody else to host my Minecraft server for me, so I might as well do it myself. And two, my significant other always wants to play or get an itch to play Minecraft at least once a year. So I'm always spinning up these Minecraft servers. So I might as well just show you guys how to do it as well. So while I am a tech channel, I wanted to go over this. One of the other reasons is because we do have to create a firewall rule if we wanted to allow public access. And this is something that could be super useful in a lot of different scenarios, especially if you're learning anything about IT. But with that being said, let's just get right into getting our Minecraft server configured, installed, and I'll show you guys how to host it yourself. So step one, the very first thing that we need is any computer. This includes the computer that you're either gaming on, a $50 laptop plugged into a wall, just any type of computer that is going to be able to host a piece of software. And namely, the easiest way to do this is with either a Windows or a Linux box. I'm personally going to be using a Windows Server operating system, but again, any computer will do. You could do it on your normal gaming computer, a virtual machine, a cloud machine, a hosted machine. It could be anything. So the very first thing we need to do after we figure out what computer we're using is just to go to minecraft.net and find this URL here. And we are going to download this Minecraft server, whatever version .jar file. All right, now for the second thing we need is to download Java. These are both the biggest pieces of this. We need to download Java and we need to download that other jar file. So get those both installed and then we will go from there. So now that we got both of those pieces installed, let's go head over to our downloads folder. And we have this file here called server. We're just going to create a new folder on our desktop and let's call it Minecraft server. And we're going to take this server piece and we are going to copy it into here. And that's all we're going to do for that. And if we wanted to also make sure that Java was properly installed, we can open command prompt. And to do that, you would right click on the start menu, hit run, type in CMD, and you will get this prompt here. So now that we have our command prompt, just type in Java space dash version and you'll notice that we have our Java version here. This is just a way to verify that Java was installed properly and then we'll be good to go. So that's again just a check. You don't need to do this. So now we're back to our server file and make sure that we open with the right program. So we want to make sure Java is selected here if it's not already. By default, mine did it. Hopefully yours does too. But if it's not, a quick way to do that is right clicking on the file, hit open with, and then make sure you select Java here. It might be in the more apps section, but you should see it. So here we hit OK. So a quick little tidbit, I did end up getting an error when I was on Windows Server and I found that if you install a different piece of Java, it clears up this error. So I was going to show you guys that really quick. If you're able to just click on Server.Jar right now and it opens fine, that's awesome. You'll be good to go. I'm going to show you guys the Java JDK just in case you run into the same issue that I had. And all we're going to do is instead of download the Java 8 version, we're going to download the latest Java JDK. So this is the website to do so, and you'll just make sure you hit whatever operating system that you are on and hit the installer download here. So once again, we are going to just want to make sure that we're opening with this Java platform binary here and just hit OK. And once we do that, you will start seeing some files being created and generated by this file. And just give it a second, make sure you guys see all of the same files that are in my file browser here. And we are very close to already being done with getting our server up and running. One of the next things we need to do is go into this file. You can double click the EULA and make sure that we set this false statement to true. Go to File, Save, Exit out, and then we're done with that step. Now, if all is well, all we got to do is hit on Server.Jar once again. I'm double clicking it and allowing it to load. So that's it for setting up your Minecraft server for the most part. We do need to get some configurations done, but you will notice if you go back to your files, we have a couple more files that have been created, including this world folder. And we also have server properties, which is your next most important piece. So here you can see that this is our Minecraft server and it starts generating the actual area. And all this is saying is that your server is actually built and ready to go. But for now, we're going to close out of here and go into our properties so we can see a couple things. And our server properties, we're just going to open with, and we're going to open with Notepad so we can see some information here. So here are all of the Minecraft settings that you can mess with. You can go through, they're all very self-explanatory, like PvP. Our difficulty is set to easy. We can change that to peaceful if we wanted to. And any changes you make here, make sure you save it. After saving, we can hit close, and once you relaunch using the Server.Jar file, just double click on it, and it'll launch your server with the new properties set, so you can change these at any time that you want. Now there's two things here. One, if you plan on playing on your Minecraft server by yourself or with somebody else that's in your household, you are all set and ready to go. You can start up Minecraft and join by using either localhost as the join address, or you can use the IP address of the machine that you set up this server on. Just keep in mind, this Minecraft server window has to be up the entire time that you plan on being in the server. So again, that server address will work as localhost if it is your computer with the Minecraft server on it, or you need to get the IP address of the computer that you set it up. And I will show you how to grab the IP address of that computer really quick. If you right click the Windows icon in the bottom left and hit run, you can type in CMD here and pop this open. There's a couple other ways to do this. You can just type in command prompt and you'll find it there. But here we're just going to type in IP config, and here's the IP address of your computer. And this is pretty much the only information that you need to know if nobody else is going to be on your server. But what if you have friends or family or whoever you're playing with that want to also get onto your Minecraft server? This is where it gets a little bit more technical. I'm going to walk you through it on how I do it on my end, but keep in mind that your router may look a little bit different. So doing these firewall settings, again, it works the same exact way on pretty much every router, but the UI and how it looks is slightly different. So you might have a slightly different experience doing this, but I will get you through the pretty much the facts that you actually need to know. So step one is that we need your default gateway. We already pulled up this command prompt window and typed in IP config. That's perfect. We just need this information here, which is your gateway. Generally speaking, this will be your router, and we need to get to your router to change the router settings to allow Minecraft through your firewall. The other thing we need to know is actually in your server properties back in your Minecraft server. You right click, open with, make sure it's Notepad and hit OK. We are going to scroll down until you see server port. This port number is something that we need to allow through the firewall. So we need to make sure we jot this down or keep this open while we edit the firewall settings on your router. So the very next thing we need to do is go to your default gateway. So the very next thing we need to do is actually get into your router. And to do that is we get that default gateway information that I just spoke about in command prompt, which is 192.168.1.1. And very often this is actually most people's gateway. Sometimes this one is a 0, but that's usually the only difference. So after that, we just hit enter and you should hit your router. And for me to get to the correct settings, you'll need your router password to get to pretty much everything. So I entered that in here, and here are my firewall settings. Now to clear up any confusion, I'm just gonna make sure to delete all of these out so we get a clear picture of what we're doing here. So here, the very first thing, now again, yours may look different, but it's gonna follow the same rules. For me, on my router, I have to fill out the service name, and for everybody, we need to get the port range. The port range is what I showed before in the properties, which is here. So make sure you copy this, enter it into your port range, because this is what we're going to be utilizing for the firewall. Now you can see here that I created this already, but the configuration that I made was just something like this. I hit add, and my ad appeared right up top. Now I am going to return back to NAT and gaming. Again, yours might just be the NAT firewall rules, which is network address translation. I'm going to describe to you what it's actually doing in just a minute after we finish this configuration. So going back, I have this Minecraft here. And now I have to find the device to associate this port to. And the device that we're associating it to is the device that the server is being hosted on. Once again, that is going to be the IP config and your IP address. So you're going to need this information to associate these two things. So I need to find my 192.168.1.68, which is right here, as you can see. A lot of things let you manually enter in these IP addresses. My lovely home router from AT&T forces me to use whatever it can see, which is sometimes a good and a bad thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and click this and hit add. So now you can see that this Minecraft, which is this port, is associated to this device. Now let me show you guys what this is actually doing so you kind of understand what security hole that you're opening up on your home network is, how it works, and just some really good useful information here. So let's start off with your home network. Now, if we didn't poke a hole in the firewall, the only thing that your Minecraft server can reach is any devices within your house. So let's say this is your computer and this is your server. Right? So we'll say server PC. Now, because this is inside of your house, these two things can reach each other automatically because it's on something called a local area network. And to keep this simple, let's say this is your firewall. If somebody on the outside of your home has a computer that's trying to reach inside of your home, it cannot, because it can't see your local area network. What it has to do is actually see your public network. That means they need access to your public IP in some shape or form. You can disguise it in DNS or reverse proxying. In our case, I'll show you something for DNS entry, but basically they would find your router by finding your public IP address. Then there will be a little hole inside of your router that lets them get to the server. And what this hole is that port that we opened up in our router. And that's all this is doing. It's just allowing this connection to go through the person's router, through the little hole, which is our port, and actually be able to reach the server because it forwards the traffic along that IP address that we gave it using that port. And now the only other piece that we're missing for somebody else to get into your Minecraft server is your public IP address. So let me show you really quick how to grab your public IP address and then possibly how to do a little bit of security. I'm not going to go into reverse proxying because that's a little bit more advanced, but we can at least use something called DuckDNS to disguise your public IP. Let's go through that really quick. Now, if you're comfortable sharing your public IP with a close friend or family member, then it should be okay to not have to try to disguise your public IP because your friends and family generally aren't malicious enough to do anything. But if you're going to be sharing out your Minecraft server to the public, looking into this security stuff is definitely much more feasible, and I wouldn't just share out your public IP to the open internet. It's not the best thing to do. So with that being said, all we're going to do is go open the internet browser and type in what's my public IP. You'll be able to reach a website really quickly called this. Hit that first link, and here you will see your public IP information. And this is the thing that you need to share to your friend. Now, if you don't want to share the IP directly to your friend, we can use something called DuckDNS. Click on that first link, and all we gotta do is sign in or create an account. So I just had to switch windows really quick, but again, let me show you this. This is duckdns.org. I signed in with my Google account. Of course, you can use whatever account you want. This is totally free to do. And we are going to create our DNS entry. And to do that, all we got to do is type in some gibberish here. And this gibberish will be blah, 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 .duckdns.org. Here, I can do, let's say, Ryko.duckdns.org. Select add domain. I change it to Ryko Tech because the other one was taken. And you will notice that it will map your domain name to the IP address of your public internet and essentially just create a website for you. So your domain at the top will be whatever you made it, .duckdns.org, and that is what you will share to somebody else in disguise of your public IP address. Now, it's really easy to pull your public IP address from this, so you can do this if you'd like, but it's not the most secure thing in the world. But it is a little bit more secure than it was before. And I do, again, advise you not to share your public IP information or this, even using DuckDNS, out into the public internet. I would just do it to close friends or family and things like that you actually trust. And that's pretty much it. Now your friend is able to use your public IP or your DuckDNS entry to get into your Minecraft server over the internet. Now, I hope this wasn't too technical for all of you guys. It is a lot. It is a lot at first glance, I know, but trust me, once you get into it and understand the video, maybe you watch it once or twice for the technical portion, you will start to comprehend what I'm saying, and it will come a lot easier. So now that we have configured our server, I gave you guys all the information that you possibly need. All we're going to do is make sure we can connect. And all you got to do is type in the server address. Like I said, if it's on your computer and you're hosting the server stuff on your personal computer, all you'll need is this little tidbit, this local host, and that's it. And then you can hit join server. If it's on a remote server or anything else, you're going to have to use the IP address or host name. For example, mine was on 192.168.1.68, I believe. Let me just double check that really quick. Yes. So this is the IP address of my Minecraft server. My Minecraft server is also running. Make sure it's running, of course. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to connect. And you can hit join server. And that's it, guys. I swear it's not that difficult. If somebody else is trying to get to your server that is not within your house, they're going to have to use that public IP address stuff that I spoke to you about. So make sure they are connecting properly with that. But with that being said, if you guys have any questions, issues, or anything, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer most things. And if you enjoyed and found this video useful, please like and subscribe, as it helps me a lot as a creator. Thank you again for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.